corruption has finally been brought down. It's now been turned into dust. The 32 and the 29th floor Twin Tower has finally been brought down. The biggest message to all those corrupt officials, to those corrupt builders, no longer will India tolerate this. Today what you're witnessing is corruption has come down. It is a meltdown of clearly those people who thought that they could have taken every Indian for a ride, and this perhaps is the biggest lesson, as we saw in just about 9 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, this tower of deceit, this tower of corruption has now been brought down. There are a lot of people who are cheering right now, and rightfully so. Why not? How long would have India taken this? How long would have India allowed this to happen? That you would have allowed people to struggle, people whose hard-earned money was taken for a ride. Today, this is the biggest lesson to those builder mafia, to those corrupt officials, to those corrupt bureaucrats who allowed this to happen. No longer will India tolerate this. No longer we will accept this. That's the end of the tower of deceit, ladies and gentlemen.
Very, very
all that remains is a mushroom of cloud.
To all those who continue to run to the courts of our country, who continue to fight the builder lobby, who continue to fight against the corrupt officials and expose the corruption within the system, the judiciary making it amply clear that this is not going to be accepted, and this is the message that is going out loud and clear. Also a shout out to the officials who've carried out this entire exercise in a very organized fashion.
I would say this is what Naya Bharat is. When we talk about Naya Bharat, we are talking about this, that no longer are we really going to take this. It's a salute to our judiciary who have ensured that people's right will never be tampered with. Today, if you try and demolish people's rights, this is exactly what you will have. This is the fate that you will have if at all you once again meddle with the rights of people of India. People of India will no longer tolerate this. And today, as more and more people are out on the streets without that fear, not a single people that we saw right now, they were fearful as to what exactly is going to happen. They wanted to see it with their naked eyes, that no longer will our rights be trampled upon by those corrupt bureaucrats, by those corrupt builders. That's never going to happen once again. Perhaps this is going to be the biggest message, biggest learning lesson for all those who thought that they would have gotten away with this kind of deceit.
Especially the kind of complaints in the real estate market in the NCR, in Noida, Shravan, so many complaints of this nature that have been raised time and again, of the fancy promises made by the builders, of the amenities that have been promised, of all that was put out in their advertisements but was not delivered, and most importantly the fact that these residents, like you said, channelizing their hard-earned money, their savings towards buying that one property, that one home for themselves, and then how their rights have been trampled upon by these influential players, by these builders, their right to live, their right to air, their right to breathe, and their right to have a safe life for themselves, for their children, and the very fact that the builders went on to collude with the authorities to build these structures. Brick by brick it was allowed that these structures were built, were constructed, but today is a moment of victory.
Indeed.
Today is a moment of victory for all those home buyers who have been fighting the builder lobby, who have been fighting the corruption in the system, and once again to those very officials who carried out the entire exercise, Shravan, as the dust is slowly clearing out, as the cloud of smoke is slowly moving, you now see the residents in all those adjacent buildings and the fight that they put up for so many years, their hard-earned money, running to the courts of the country, arguing against the builder, and all of them who came together. Today their efforts have reaped fruit, and today finally their homes are safe now. There is a view that they have, the air that will eventually clear, and today they will have access to sunlight and the life that they want to give to themselves.
Indeed, this, I would say, is a historic moment, viewers. Historic moment in the fight against corruption, and that's what we are witnessing today. Imagine, just about a few seconds ago, viewers, what was built over several years, starting from 2005 when the proposal was actually moved, and thereafter we saw overnight 2 twin towers were created and what turns out to become an illegal construction. And thereafter, for 9 years, ladies and gentlemen, what people of India were doing, people of Emerald Court Residents Welfare Association, they were fighting tooth and nail against the builder mafia, against corrupt bureaucrats who allowed this to happen. So once again, perhaps today we are witnessing history being made. Perhaps we are witnessing what we always call Naya Bharat, that no longer will we accept any corrupt practices. No longer will we allow people's rights to be taken away. No longer will we allow those corrupt officials to get away by doing what they did in this particular case. And that, my dear viewers, that's the bigger message that goes in. Beyond the spectacle of these towers being brought down, today it's a day to rejoice the fact that we have come to an age where we are no longer going to accept our rights being trampled upon. Your hard-earned money will never be taken for a ride. And that's the bigger message that goes from these two buildings that have been brought down. And what becomes even more abundant is, it's heartwarming. It's really heartwarming to see more and more people coming out on the streets and rejoicing the fact without any fear. Because remember, when the explosion took place, this was not just a mean feat. 3,700 kilograms of explosives inside these two towers exploded in just about 9 seconds. It came all crumbling down like a pack of cards. And why not? How long would you have allowed this to have happened? How long would you have allowed those senior citizens who had to knock at the doors of the court, who had to run from pillar to post? Would that have been allowed? No longer. And that's the big message, viewers, this Sunday afternoon, as we witness history being created, unfolding before our eyes, Suesha. And it has become a day.
Shravan.
Absolutely.
And the 9 seconds, it's all that it took to bring these buildings down, but the kind of preparation that went into it to ensure that it is carried out in the most systematic, calculated manner, the fact that people remain safe, the fact that the adjacent buildings stay intact, and that is exactly what it is. Of course, dust that goes into those homes, and that will take a while to settle down. But so many concerns, primarily from the health point of view. There should be no respiratory issues that the people living here develop, and the very fact that everyone remains safe, and all of that was kept in mind. A lot of recce's that were conducted, a lot of planning that went into raising this particular building, these twin towers. And if Ravaji can also get a picture, they get those pictures of the debris, because Shravan, as the dust is now clearing out, we see the debris that is now standing there on that very crater, Shravan, after this explosion, because even a majority of the explosives that were in the lower floors of the structure, so the debris that we see, more than 55,000 tons. And of course, important, Shravan, now to quickly recap for our viewers how they're going to clear out the debris.
Well, in fact, just stay with those visuals, Kabegere. That's a huge amount of debris that has been generated. If you simply go by the sheer number, that's 80,000 tons. That's the estimated construction debris, the number that has been given to us by those who are carrying out the demolition. So from this, as you can see, I think so it's at least 6 to 7 floors. Viewers, pardon me if I've got a little wrong here and there, but my estimate would be at least 7 to 8 floors of debris that's lying there right now, as you see on your screens. That's what remains of. And I'm being told that they've also acted upon it immediately. The authorities have brought in the mechanized sweepers, as well as the water tankers would be going in, because the immediate concern right now, as I can see also, because the wind speed thankfully has reduced, so it's not really coming towards us at this point in time. But these water sprinklers would actually go in to settle the dust. That's going to happen in the next couple of minutes. Immediate measures would be taken. And let's not forget those who are already inside the exclusion zone. They are also going to carry out examination of the place where the debris is lying right now, because they would also look at whether at all any of the explosives have been left unattended, or for that matter hasn't exploded. So that is going to be the other big concern. And once the debris, that's about 80,000 tons of debris, of which 50,000 is going to still be there, Suesha.
Shravan, if you see carefully, that one part of the building, and could be about 3 to 4 floors, that stays intact, that has fallen as it is. And of course, we are getting that clear view. I'm hoping that the cameras are also able to capture that. The sky is also now getting hazier, and the view that is more hazy now is because the dust is now settling into spreading into the other parts. Like you said, that the wind speed has slightly reduced, and that comes in as a sense of relief for all those who are staying within this radius and beyond. Families, senior citizens, children, those whose health condition is vulnerable, and probably a huge matter of concern for this implosion that we just witnessed. I think literally in less than 9 seconds is what it felt like, Shravan. And I was also, trying to get a sense of once the implosion happens, the kind of sound it'll make, but in a very controlled manner, the implosion that took place, the entire exercise, and the rubble that now stays on the ground, this debris that will get cleared. And Shravan, like you see those columns, Shravan, and that I feel are columns of a couple of floors. That particular section of the building that has just fallen as it is, Shravan.
Well, I perhaps have to also wait for an official confirmation to come in from those who've carried out the demolition, because we perhaps can still see some structures lying there, but not very sure that would be part of the debris that's lying there, because it's not less. It's about 80,000 tons of construction debris that's going to lie in that area. I can see sirens blaring right now, movement taking place near the flyover. I think so. The place where Nivedana was standing, that's the place from where the sirens are essentially blaring right now. Things are clearing up a little bit. People are starting to move out. Of course, there are people who are gathering closer to the exclusion zone because they want to get a closer glimpse right now. But the dust also largely moving towards the other side, not really coming towards this side. It's gone as per plan. It's gone as per plan. It was supposed to be 9 seconds. That's exactly what has happened. And thereafter, also, if you take a look at right now what remains, so for all our viewers, if any of our viewers are from those very buildings who have evacuated, you may want to take a closer look if everything is fine. Of course, you may not understand what's really happened inside your homes, but from our naked eyes, all that we can see is that all the other buildings, adjoining buildings, seem to be fine right now. They seem to be intact. But again, all of those would be confirmed only by authorities once they do a proper check, because what's going to happen is the next few hours they're going to examine the impact of this implosion. Impact in terms of the fact that there was vibration, and the vibration speed, keeping that in mind, whether at all there are cracks in any of those buildings. Safety checks would essentially be done, especially in Emerald Court and ATS Village. Once all of that is cleared, the authorities are essentially going to get in touch with the Resident Welfare Association and also pass on the message whether it is conducive for all of them to enter the building. That's going to be step 2. But I'm also given to understand that there's going to be an aerial sortie that is going to take place in a short while from now, Suesha. In fact, we're also trying our best to give you better images. Perhaps in a short while from now, we'll also go across to our other reporters who are going to give us a closer look, because I think so we are at a vantage position. All our other crew members are also at a vantage position, getting us more getting us the latest images. So far, no reports of untoward incident that has taken place.
The traffic piling up.
That's what we know. Just if Ravanji can also, I'm not sure whether he can perhaps pan towards the right, where it seems people have gathered there. More numbers of cars completely parked there. A traffic jam which is bound to happen. All the fire tenders are very much placed where they are, so it looks like so far everything is under control. Simply by the fact that these fire tenders have not moved. The same number of fire tenders who were parked here before are still here from this very area, so they've not been moved. That's good news really coming in. Water tankers is what I can see right now moving towards the exclusion zone, because as the dust is settling down, it seems to a greater extent it's settling down quite fast right now. The other side is where the impact we can see. The larger impact is as the wind is blowing in the other direction, so we can see the dust actually moving towards the other side. I can also now give you the latest update. We are now seeing police officials. Yes, that's Noida police officials who are moving towards, they've gone inside the exclusion zone right now. So checks are going to be done immediately so that this entire area, it's only after it's deemed safe for all the residents, only then they would be allowed. So all those checks are essentially being done right now by, they are being done by the authorities is what we know. Suresh, if you can just take over and just tell our viewers with more details that is coming in right now.
Absolutely, Shravan, and we see how the crowds are now slowly clearing out. Of course, a bit of traffic here and the cars that are congregated, but fact remains, Shravan, that the officials now ensuring that all that had been planned, they go as per plan in terms of after the implosion, the after effects of the implosion, and everything can be contained. And let's continue to tell our viewers, Shravan, that the roads that were blocked, those very routes still remain blocked, and they will continue to be so till 4:30 p.m. Till 4:30 p.m. is when we will still see, thankfully it's a Sunday, Shravan, so not that daily life is affected in that sense because there are no offices and schools functioning today, but the very fact that they'll try and get this under control today itself, so that tomorrow being a Monday, then of course clearing out the debris, and 12 days as a minimum is what the officials are looking at to clear the debris until when those living in the adjacent buildings can shift into their homes back. And of course it is going to be a mammoth task, but they come back victorious. They come back with the feeling of getting their homes, and now in a much better way of the long drawn battle that they put up in the courts of our country, first in the High Court and then in the Supreme Court, and justice that finally prevailed, and the result of which is what the entire country is witness to. The Twin Towers that is reduced to rumble, Shravan, that is reduced to debris, that is reduced to dust, and that is all that you see of it. And now the very fact, Shravan, that I've been pointing out over and over again, that this is the very area, this is the very sector in the country, Noida, and this region that we are talking about, where a handful of builders had monopolized this piece of land, and they were building at a rampant speed, be it residential projects or amenities or connecting roads, because obviously it was with the idea of development in this particular region, and how they went on to make tall promises. And obviously because this particular region happens to be a little affordable for a lot of home buyers, so tall promises were made, and those middle class, particularly to say, Shravan, those who literally channelize all their savings, all their hard-earned money towards that one property that they want to buy, and then they have to face the wrath of the builders, of permissions granted in a corrupt way, and how the authorities were in collusion with the builders, and a result of which that they were deprived of the basics, Shravan, but today they have their life back, they have their homes back.
In fact, the Apex Court perhaps wanted to send a very loud message. And I must say that the message is extremely loud, and we witnessed it. And I'm hoping that today this is going to be the biggest learning lesson for all the corrupt officials, as well as those builders, as Suresh was also pointing out. Let's not forget the hard-earned money of several buyers, those who've not been able to get their hands on their own apartments. Today perhaps is a message to those corrupt officials, Noida authorities also, who are hand in gloves in ensuring that this very piece of land, which was supposed to be only about 14 towers with about 9 floors, was then converted into a twin tower with over 32 floors. But ladies and gentlemen, this was nothing but the tower of deceit, the tower of corruption, which has finally crumbling down. And only because what the Supreme Court essentially said, and I quote, essentially this was an act of collusion of corrupt Noida authority officials and the builders. And that's the reason why once again we are saying that if this continues, finally the fate is what you see right now on your screens. About 80,000 tons of construction debris. That's what has been reduced to. A plan which started back in 2005 modified into 2009 only because you had corrupt Noida authorities who allowed this to happen. And then the builder with impunity continued building this at a rapid rate, resulting in these two towers. But what essentially happened thereafter is that the Emerald Court Resident Welfare Association, they took this legal battle. Let's not forget, it's today a victorious day for not just the entire country, but specifically for those who've been, moving from pillar to post. It's perhaps that is going to be extremely heartwarming, gladdening to see that finally it's their victory that what we are witnessing before our eyes. A lot has been spoken that this has essentially become a spectacle. Yes, it has become a spectacle, but the reality also being that this spectacle is going to be the biggest learning lesson for all those who thought that they could have taken the home buyers for a ride. Let's not forget that there are several middle class owners who have essentially had to lose their money because of the deceit, because of the corruption that is prevalent. The fact that home buyers have had the most arduous task of going from one place to the other, hoping that they would get their apartments, but many still are hopeful that things would actually change now.
Absolutely, Shravan. I once again want to mention the efforts of all those who have gone into planning this entire exercise of edifice engineering, the officials on the ground, the police, the fire officials, those who have brought these water tanks, and all the personnel on the ground who are involved in ensuring that this particular exercise could be contained in a manner that it causes minimal damage. There was entire evacuation that was done of those who were living close by, and this entire radius that we see of where the impact will be. Shravan, today what we see will have a huge impact on urban planning in the country in the years to come, because let's understand that when we are talking about the real estate market, building homes and buying properties, this is something that goes into years. And so many examples, Shravan, that I myself have been witness to protests by home buyers and residents in small parts of the country, where they hold placards, they hold those banners, they try and raise their voices against the builders, but not that they've been able to see this kind of a result. And like I said, this is not just the win of these residents, this is not just the win of the home buyers who had invested or who were invested in this property, but the very fact that those who continue to fight the builder lobby, those officials who continue to take bribes under the table, it is a message going out to all of them that you cannot deprive the residents, you cannot deprive the home buyers, you cannot deprive the consumer, the Aam Aadmi. And the very fact that the judiciary is watching, and this particular case, this order by the top court is also going to be stated in many, many cases to come, Shravan, I believe, of the ongoing cases that are already in the courts of our country, and this particular decision by the judiciary, and how the home buyer, the resident, the Aam Aadmi that has emerged winner today. And that is why we see, Shravan, in fact, most of it clearing now. The dust that is also settling now, life slowly resuming back to normal, and we see how the debris, of course, will take its time until they clear it, more than 12 to 14 days. But hopefully for all those who have relocated to other homes, who made temporary arrangements, who ensured that their belongings were safe and all of that, will return after about 2 weeks to see that their efforts have finally paid off, Shravan.
Well, in fact, we're getting a huge response coming in from all our viewers tuning in. And I must say this to all our viewers who are tuning in right now, for those who are thinking that are we just covering a mere spectacle? No, viewers, what we are also telling you is that this is a fight that's not going to end. This is the fight to basically expose those corrupt builders who've taken you for a ride, who have ensured that you don't get what you deserve. And that's the reason why this fight is going on.
हाँ, डाल दिया मैं, तुम दोनों का ही लिख रही हूँ ना। मैं लिख रही हूँ रवि एंड शालिनी डूइंग सीपी बाइट, ठीक है? निकालिए। सर एक बार नीचे आइए। आपको डेमोलिशन की बात की स्थिति है, सब कुछ अंडर कंट्रोल है?
देखिए, लार्जली जो पूरी एक्सरसाइज है एज पर प्लान्स थी, और उसका एग्जीक्यूशन बिल्कुल एज पर प्लान हुआ है। बाकी अभी एक्सपर्ट टीम्स जो है वो मौके पे हैं, वो असेसमेंट कर रहे हैं। हम लोग भी अब उधर ही जा रहे हैं। उनका असेसमेंट के बाद जो है आपको फिर अपडेट देंगे।
क्या डेब्रिस सर अंदर तक घुसी है क्या? जो
ये एक्सपर्ट जो मौके पर हैं वही बता पाएंगे। अभी यहाँ से जो अभी तक पता चला है कि लार्जली इट इज एज पर द प्लान्स।
सर आज जो है ये सक्सेसफुल हो गया, क्या आगे भी ऐसे ही डिमोलाइज किया जाएगा? जो भी भ्रष्ट भूमाफिया होंगे या ऐसे कार्रवाई होगी?
दिस इज अ हाइपोथेटिकल क्वेश्चन।
अच्छा सर, जो सोसाइटी के लोग हैं वो कब तक आगे रह पाएंगे?
नोएडा एक मिनट सीईओ सब कुछ बोलना चाह रही
है। ब्लास्ट लार्जली सक्सेसफुल है। बाकी एडिफिस इंजीनियरिंग और जेट डिमोलिशन सीपीआरआई की टीम इस वक्त मौके पे है, तो कोई लेफ्ट ओवर एक्सप्लोजिव ना हो इसको चेक कर रहे हैं। जो डिमोलिशन वेस्ट था वो सारा लार्जली साइट के अंदर ही है। थोड़ा सा मलबा रोड पे और एटीएस की वॉल की तरफ गया है। बाकी जो लार्जर डिटेल्स हैं साइट पे चेक हो रहे हैं। डस्ट क्लाउड जैसा हम सभी लोगों ने देखा इमीडिएटली डिसिपिएट हो गया था। हमारी सारी मशीनरी, स्मॉग गन्स, स्वीपिंग मशीन, वाटर टैंकर साइट पे ऑपरेशनल हो गई हैं। विद इन हाफ एन आवर जो अंदर का जोन है जो बैरिकेड किया गया था, जैसे ही अंदर से क्लियरेंस आएगी अंदर की साइट में भी क्लिनजिंग का काम शुरू हो जाएगा। तो लार्जली ऑल इज ओके। बाकी जो डिटेल्स है दे विल बी क्लियर मोर आफ्टर 1.5 hour, 1 घंटे बाद। जो लोग रह रहे हैं उनको देखिए, इसके बाद एक तो क्लीनिंग कराई जाएगी, दूसरा जो गैस की सप्लाई है वो रिस्टोर कराई जाएगी, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी कनेक्शन रिस्टोर कराया जाएगा। 6:30 के बाद जो दोनों बिल्डिंग्स हैं उनके रेजिडेंट्स को अंदर आने की परमिशन, दैट हैज ऑलरेडी बीन कम्युनिकेटेड।
थैंक यू। Not at all, no casualty.
The hope that this is about the curiosity, just to fulfill the curiosity of many of how these two towers are going to just come down, but there is far more to it. There are deeper messages that is sent across by these towers of corruption really coming down. Once again, highlighting the plight of several home buyers in not just in the national capital, but several states, several cities, in metropolitan cities, where this is an urban problem that one is still dealing with. Let's not forget the countless number of people who have lost their money, whose money has essentially got stuck in various of these projects which have never taken off. EMIs that have been building upon, and it's only because who exactly is responsible? Isn't the authority really responsible? Let's not forget, in this particular case, what you see is the fact that the Supreme Court has essentially called this as an act of collusion.
See, one is if there is any leftover explosive which could become a safety issue. Second is about the debris, and thirdly about the smoke in the area, so that the visibility, and we need to restore the traffic as quickly as possible. Thank you. चलिए मिश्रा जी चलिए। Sorry, I'm sorry.
Also जो केस की स्थिति की जाएगी। नहीं, आसपास की सोसाइटीज में कोई डैमेज ब्रॉडली नहीं है, लेकिन जैसा मैंने बताया अभी जस्ट ब्लास्ट होके हटा है। 1 घंटे के अंदर स्थिति बेहतर पता लगेगी।
Presents the plight of several home buyers.
Yes, and Shravan, I just want to mention that so many people are writing into Republic saying that these corruption towers falling is just the tip of the iceberg. Unseen towers of corruption is in trillions. So, I really see this, Shravan, as I wouldn't say a start, but as a prime example that is going to be stated in the fight, in the bigger fight, in the larger fight that will continue, of the Aam Aadmi, of the common man who works hard all his life to save that money, to invest in that property, to build a home, of senior citizens, of children, of the kind of burdens they have to face because they are earning their money with all the honesty. And I know for a fact, Shravan, again, I time and again state this because I have seen a lot of these projects on the ground, having covered real estate for a long period of time in my career, and these consumers who have sat and have tried to knock every powerful door of the bureaucrats, of the politicians, of the judiciary of the country to say that please help us. And years pass, Shravan. All your life you spend in earning that money, and then in the time that you want to now build a beautiful home for yourself and live the rest of your life comfortably. Senior citizens who continue to fight this battle. And this is exactly why this was important. This is exactly why this is iconic. This is an iconic fight. This sets as a landmark. And in the fight to come, which is a much larger fight that many are fighting, and we on Republic as a team, Shravan, are working towards ensuring that your voices are heard. And while this that we saw an example of a David versus Goliath fight, to the builders having all the money, all the might to be able to trample upon these people, but that did not happen, because finally it is the consumer, it is the residents, it is the home buyers who have emerged victorious in this fight, Shravan.
Well, in fact, for all of viewers who are once again tuning in right now, we are still broadcasting live from the venue, from the place where the demolition took place, not very far away from 93A, sector 93A, where we are broadcasting right now from. Let me just quickly take you through what remains of those twin towers right now. If you really want to take a closer look, we are at a very advantageous position, if I may say so, because we can get a bird's eye view of what remains right now. I'll ask Ravaji to go as close as he can and show you right now what remains of the twin towers. As of now, it seems everything is under control. No reports of any untoward incident taking place. I am given to understand the authorities are currently at the spot. More and more number of officials are basically going towards the debris site right now, is what I can at least see from here. At least about a dozen of government vehicles have basically moved towards the debris site, because remember they're going to immediately begin the examination of the building around the area, and also see whether it is safe for the residents of this area to return, because remember most of these residents, they were asked to evacuate by 7 o'clock this morning. They'll have to perhaps return in the next 24 hours only after a safety certificate is basically issued by the authorities there. So quickly going back to the debris site there, that's what remains right now. Let's just stay with those visuals, because as we've been saying for the last a few hours, as the broadcast, as our rolling coverage continues, that today perhaps this is the biggest message which goes across, how things have essentially, this is going to act as a catalyst to turn a page, and
yes,
hopefully things are going to be for the better for those who've been suffering for years put together. Perhaps they would be glad to see what they've been asking for years put together. So currently, as I see a little bit of sirens blaring in, these are ambulances that are going in closer towards the site, is what we can gather from where we are broadcasting right now. A lot of traffic jam in and around the area right now. Going back again, once again, Ravaji, if you can go back to that very visual, and also perhaps show the condition, whatever you can understand right now of the condition of the buildings adjacent to the twin towers, the no longer, I would say, the ghost twin towers that we can talk about, the ghost twin towers right now, or the tower of corruption, tower of deceit that we've been calling it. That no longer remains there, viewers. That ugly building has now finally come down. All that you can see is the debris still remains there. If you go by the estimates that have been made by those who were involved in the process, they are saying about 80,000 tons of debris that's going to lie in that very place. A part of it is going to just remain there just to cover that entire area. A part of it is going to be sent to the processing plants, is what we are being told. Move towards the other direction. Right now, as I can see, the dust has also settled a bit.
Yes.
At least in most of the areas, the thick mushrooming clouds that was created, that seems to have gone down a little bit. It still feels there's still a breeze in the air, so that's going to really help to settle down the dust, and hopefully things are going to come back to normal. Of course, the impact that it has in the air quality is something that one will have to take a look at it at a later stage, because at least for the senior citizens who are there in these buildings, it's going to be a larger concern. Children who are staying here in the vicinity, for them home also, remember, it becomes, especially those with respiratory problems, they're going to have perhaps a little tough time.
Yes. And Shravan, I'm being told that our other colleagues also continue to stay with us. We were also wanting to get a word from Piyush and Shivangi and Nivedana as well. Piyush, I'm not being able to hear you very clearly, Piyush, but just to get a sense of what is happening at your end, a moment that the entire country was witnessing, and of course all of us. But are you able to gather some voices, Piyush, at this point? What's the sentiment like?
Well, there's a lot of sentiments among the residents here. I am right now inside this Parasan Prestige Society, where the residents of Emerald have come, and they are the one who are the most affected one. Let me try to get in a word from the residents here. Here you can clearly see as to how they are chanting slogans in the favor of Lord Krishna. Let me try to get in a word from one of the residents who was seen chanting slogans in favor of Lord Krishna. आप बिहारी जी के नारे लगा रहे हैं, क्या कारण?
उसका कारण यही है जो हमारे नेबर के साथ ये सब हुआ है। हम चाहते हैं किसी को हार्म ना हो। हमारी पूरी सोसाइटी नहीं, हमारा पूरा होल हिंदुस्तान चाहता है कि जितना भी ये डेमोलिशन हुआ, जिन जिनको ये हार्म, और नियर अबाउट पड़ोसी जो हैं उनको कोई हार्म ना हो, जो बचे हुए हैं उनको कोई हार्म ना हो, क्योंकि जो होना था वो तो हो चुका, जिसने किया वो भी हो चुके। भ्रष्ट है, त्रस्त है, आई डोंट केयर। अब हमें उनके साथ कुछ नहीं लेना देना है। ये तो जो होना था बिहारी जी की इच्छा से सब हो चुका। तो हम ये चाहते थे बिहारी जी किसी को कोई तकलीफ ना हो, किसी को कोई तकलीफ
Also, let me try to get in a very important voice. She is the one who had basically invested in Twin Tower, and she is the one who was at the receiving end. Let me try to understand from her. मैम, आज आप कैसा महसूस कर रही हैं? आपने ट्विन टावर में पैसा लगाया था, आप ये कह रहे हैं आपके साथ धोखा हुआ, आज वो ट्विन टावर जो है वो टूट के नीचे आ गया, क्या कहेंगे?
हमारा पैसा मिट्टी में मिल गया, इसके अलावा कुछ और नहीं। हमारा पैसा यूं जाके बह गया। अब अगर इसको कोई लगाने वाला है तो आपके थ्रू आवाज़ पहुंचे उन लोगों तक कि जिनको पता चले कि इतना भी ये सब भी हुआ है। और मैं कोशिश, भगवान से दुआ है कि हमारे बराबर वाले टावर्स पर कुछ ना पहुंचे, उनको कोई हार्म ना हो। हमारा तो जो हुआ सो हुआ, लेकिन जो वहाँ रह रहे हैं एस्टर 2 के लोग, मैं तब से यही देखने की कोशिश कर रही हूँ कि क्या पत्थर उसमें तो नहीं गिरे हैं एस्टर 2 और 3 में।
मुस्कुरा भी रही हैं, साथ साथ मैं आप देख पा रहा हूँ आपकी आंखें भी नम हैं, आंखों में आंसू भी हैं। लेकिन क्या ऐसा हुआ कि ये सब यहाँ तक, लड़ाई यहाँ तक पहुँच गई? कई सारी चीज़ें आप लोगों ने डिफ़िकल्टीज़ भी फेस की। मैंने ये सुना कि आप उसी बिल्डिंग के साथ वाली बिल्डिंग में अब रेंट पर रह रही हैं। आप पहले चाहते थे ट्विन टावर में आपका घर हो।
हाँ, हम इसीलिए वहाँ रेंट पे रहना शुरू किया था कि जैसे घर बनेगा हम इसमें शिफ्ट हो जाएंगे, क्योंकि बच्चों की पढ़ाई सब उसी एरिया में हो रही है, तो वो इजी हो जाएगा। लेकिन आज वो उम्मीद ऐसे तो ख़त्म ही हो चुकी है। लेकिन कम से कम आप लोग के थ्रू योगी जी तक, बड़े बड़े अधिकारियों तक ये आवाज़ पहुँचे कि हम क्यों बैंक के डिफ़ॉल्टर हैं। जो चीज़ मिट्टी में मिली हुई है हम उसके लिए डिफ़ॉल्टर हैं। पैसा मत दीजिए, कम से कम डिफ़ॉल्टर तो मत बनाइए। हमें आज़ाद तो कर दीजिए उस टैक्स से जो हमारे पैन कार्ड पे और हमारे अकाउंट्स पे लगे हुए हैं।
That is the word coming in from this lady, and also let me try to get in a word from this lady also. मैम, क्या कहेंगे आप? यहाँ पर मैं देख रहा हूँ यहाँ पे कुछ लोग हैं जो बहुत परेशान हैं। मतलब इन्होंने पैसा लगाया था ट्विन टावर में, आज वो ये कह रहे हैं कि वो पैसा उनका मिट्टी में मिल गया।
बट नेचुरली मैं जैसे पहले बाइट दे चुकी हूँ, मैंने कहा है कि ये लोग हमारे नेबर हैं और ये लोग इंतज़ार कर रहे थे कि अगर वो सुपरटेक पूरा होगा तो इनका पैसा जो उसमें लगा हुआ है वो कंप्लीट हो जाए। लाइक सेम मेरे साथ हुआ। वो मैंने 3 जगह पैसा लगाया था शौर्य हाउसिंग सोसाइटी में, वो बेकार हो गया। वो हमें ना पैसा दे रहे ना कुछ दे रहे हैं। मैंने कॉस्मिक में पैसा लगाया था तो मेरा 55 लाख रुपए तीनों जगह पे लगा हुआ है। कॉस्मिक में भी लगाया है, प्रीमियम में भी लगाया, सेम इनके साथ हुआ है। तो हम लोग सब इसलिए इमोशनल है बहुत ज़्यादा।
So people are very much emotional here. Let me try to get in a word from more people. मैम, आप क्या कहना चाहेंगी? आज एक बड़ा दिन है, आपने देखा कैसे वो बिल्डिंग धराशायी हो गई, टुकड़ों में जो है मिट्टी में मिल गई वो बिल्डिंग।
वो तो मिलना ही था। भ्रष्टाचार के रावण और कुंभकर्ण का दहन तो होना ही था। और मेरी तो अब सुबह से मैं ये गाना भी मेरे मन में गुनगुना रही थी, ट्विन टावर गिरेंगे धड़ाम, ट्विन टावर गिरेंगे धड़ाम, ओहो मन में है विश्वास, पूरा है विश्वास, ट्विन टावर गिरेंगे धड़ाम, आज ही होगी खुशियाँ चारों ओर, होंगी खुशियाँ चारों, ओहो होंगी खुशियाँ चारों ओर। और मैं तो यही खड़े होकर यही नारे लगा रही थी, बोल वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। है। सब लोग बोल रहे थे बिल्डिंग हिली, मैंने कि मुझे तो पता ही नहीं चला, मैं तो अपने बिहारी जी के नारे लगाने में लग रही थी, तो मुझे तो पता ही नहीं चला। और मैं
And we continue to hear those voices of victory and those elated home buyers, those residents who have finally won this long-drawn battle in the top court, and the efforts that were put into this fight have finally reaped fruit. The twin towers that came crumbling down in all of 9 seconds, is what it took, and this was really the effort of a 9-year-long battle that was fought in the courts of our country. The judiciary coming to the rescue of the home buyers, of the residents who said that the builders were trampling with the norms, they were flouting the norms, they had gone ahead with an illegal construction, and of all the promises that were made, they were not fulfilled, permission was not sought. Of course, we heard how the builders and even the Noida authority tried to defend themselves in the court by stating several examples, and also going on to the extent to say that rules and regulations had not been drawn clearly, and there was no clarity. But the court made it amply clear, the top court of our country, saying that right to live, right to air cannot be taken away from the citizens of the country, and even when it comes to further development and construction, but the well-being of the residents has to be kept on top priority. And we say this from the city of Noida, from the NCR, where we see how a handful of builders have really taken over this entire region in the last couple of decades, 2 decades to be precise, since we see a change in the real estate market, and how, with the increasing burden in the national capital, we were seeing a lot of development and construction that was happening in these particular belts of the country, and how the middle class in particular, who was wanting to buy more affordable homes, was slowly moving into these sectors of the country. But what really happened? And these ambitious plans of the high and mighty, of the rich and powerful, of the builder lobby, and despite, home buyers have been fighting for years when it comes to the real estate regulatory authority, when it comes to tightening the norms and making the rules friendlier for the home buyers, making regulations and designing them and alternating them in a way that the home buyer stands protected, that the residents stand protected. However, multiple of these fights that we continue to witness, but here we saw how these residents emerged victorious, and today they stand in the faces of the builder Supertech that had tried everything possible in the court of our country to ensure that they don't have to they go back on this project, to ensure that they continue to sell more homes, and how they even put out the calculations of how most of their buyers who were invested in this particular project had moved to other projects. But the court compensated to all those who were involved in this fight, for all these residents in the adjacent buildings, over 2 crore rupees of compensation that was granted, and even to those who were invested in this project, they also get an annual return of 12%, and which is why today a message of victory, a message for the protection of home buyers goes out to the entire country, and also to the builder lobby that has gotten particularly powerful, and how the norms also need to be made stricter in our country. Shavan, that's a very important point that once again comes to light with a case like this that the entire country is witnessing, because it is the home buyer that needs to be protected, and a lot of these middle class persons who are trying to purchase a home, who channelize all their money, all their hard-earned savings towards buying that one home, and then this is how they're looted by the builder. Fancy advertisements that we see of the brochures that are put out by the builders, of the amenities that are promised, of the development that is promised, but what happens in return? The unscrupulous ways that are used to actually go ahead into building such projects, and then how long do you go on to walk over the innocent? You cannot do that, and that's the message that the court, the top court of the country, puts out. That's the sense of victory that we hear in the voices of all those who are cheering Shavan today, singing songs, celebrating, because this is a message of victory, a David versus Goliath fight. They may have been in a weaker position in the start, but today they have superseded the powerful and the mighty.
Well, in fact, indeed, this was a David versus Goliath fight, and not just one, multiple messages that have been sent across with the Twin Towers finally being brought down, as we've been calling it, the Tower of Deceit, the Tower of Corruption. It was finally brought down in just about 9 seconds. And what remains right now is what you see just behind me. Perhaps we are at a vantage position to give you the latest images, also as close as we could have actually got an aerial view of the debris that's basically lying right now. That's what remains. And as Suesha was pointing out, what really happens when you basically employ unscrupulous methods to continue with their construction activities, and that too because of the corrupt officials that enabled these builders to carry on with this kind of an act altogether. Finally, perhaps this is a strong message that's going to remain, and it's a landmark judgment of the Supreme Court also, allowing this demolition to actually take place despite the challenges put up by the Noida authority as well as the builder in concern right now. Because let's not forget what essentially happens is the fact that it's a victory of those people who have been fighting for over 9 years. Before we continue with our coverage, let's also quickly dip into some of the latest updates that are coming in, because all our viewers who are tuning in right now, especially those who've been living in this area, would like to get their latest updates. I'll ask Rawatji if you can just pan towards your left and a little closer towards the ATS village, the road where you can see right now the water tankers have basically moved in, the sprinklers right now on the road. Basically the dust that was created, that was left behind in that very area, they're trying to wash it away with more number of tankers are basically moving in. That's take a closer look at it. Perhaps right now for all those viewers who are watching us, especially those who have moved out from these areas and staying somewhere else, are just hoping to get to a glimpse of their own homes right now. All that we can tell you from this particular distance, it looks it looks like whatever they had planned, it has gone as per their plans. So far there are no reports of any untoward incident. Obviously it's going to take some more time for the assessment, a proper assessment to be done in terms of the structural changes or the structural impact that this implosion may have had on the buildings, adjacent buildings. That's going to take some more time before we get an official word really from the authorities. Let me also bring in my colleague Nivedana, who's joining us from another vantage position, because she's extremely close to the debris site right now. Nivedana, what more can you tell us?
Well, Shaban, if you can see on my right now, there was, all the water that was...
Of the Honorable Supreme Court's order, and largely it is as per the plans. We are going to the site to assess the remnants which are there. See, one is if there is any leftover explosive which could become a safety issue. Second is about the debris, and thirdly about the smoke in the area, so that the visibility, and we need to restore the traffic as quickly as possible. Thank you.
That was the police official briefing us about what are the next steps that would be undertaken by the authorities right now. As we've been also pointing out, the safety audit essentially going to be done to find out whether at all there's any structural damage that has been inflicted on the buildings adjacent to the Twin Towers. Let me once again go back to my colleague Nivedana, who's joining us from other vantage position, getting us the latest. Nivedana, what's the situation like? Anything that you're picking up in terms of any incident that's taken place? Have you been able to speak to some of the authorities who are there, who are stationed at the very place where you are broadcasting from?
He's saying that this...
Nivedana, if you can hear me, just walk us through the details that you are picking up right now. What's the situation like?
Right, Shravan, I don't think I could hear you properly, but then I'll just take you through what was actually happening over here. After, of course, the successful demolition, the workers did come in and sweep the entire floor of debris, this entire flyover. Now, if you can see, water as well is being poured on the entire road. But on the other hand, of course, when demolition took place, this entire area was packed with people. There's a lot of energy as well. And the same people were kind of excited to see what was going to be happening. So earlier in the day, of course, on this particular side, we did see a lot of police officials who were deployed. The security was wrapped up, but right after the fact that the demolition took place successfully, they moved away from this particular site. So we do have the barricades still on in a couple of places over here. There are a few police officers as well in the particular area, but not as much as we saw earlier, Shravan.
Well, Nivedana, we'll keep coming back to you, and we'll try and also go across to our other reporters who would be joining us on this broadcast, getting your latest updates. But a quick recap of what we know so far. What's the situation right now? Let me just once again take you through some of the latest details that is coming in right now, and also the latest images on your screens. If you've actually missed that very moment at 2:30 this afternoon when the Twin Towers were brought down, we'll also put out those images on our screens in a short while from now. But let's just take you through some of the latest developments. These fire tenders, once again, Ravaji, if you can just go back to the same location that we were showing a while back. Right now, if you can see the fire tenders, they're moving out of those areas and they're going inside the exclusion zone. So it looks like the police officials and the Noida authorities, they were the first ones to basically enter and do a check of the area. Hopefully everything has gone as per a plan. So far we've got no reports of any untoward incident that may have taken place. No such reports as of now. It looks like so far everything has gone as per what was planned in the last few months, that this would be done in 9 seconds. It appears to be extremely smooth and a clear operation that was basically carried out, leading to the 2 towers being brought down. So what happens right now is the safety check would be done, especially in those very areas, to see if there is any structural damage in any of the buildings. Once that is done, perhaps you would see the resident welfare authorities. They would be essentially told whether to come back or not. We continue with our rolling coverage, and also the big question that we are asking today is the fact that, is this the end of that nexus, unholy nexus between corrupt officials and builders?
When Sonali Fogart taken to the same restaurant, there she was intentionally and forcefully drink, and that is now visible in the CCTV, which clearly sees that how Sudhir Sangwan, who is forcefully making Sonali Fogart to drink 1.5 gram of MDMA that was mixed in the same drink.
Ladies and gentlemen, of course there have been journalists in Pakistan who have been tortured, who have been shot at. But those journalists are either neutral or do not support Imran Khan at all. During Imran Khan's regime, the same thing was done to journalists who would criticize Imran Khan's government and Imran Khan himself. Friends, in Pakistan, everybody is a lion till the time the police come calling, and then all the lions are lambs.
There's an old saying in the Navy that ships don't die, they just fade away only to be reborn again. INS Vikrant, the largest indigenous aircraft carrier ever built by the country, where India has joined a league of few nations which has made this feat.
So motto is we win over those who dare to fight.
On September 2nd, INS Vikrant will be commissioned into the Indian Navy.
Fire got erupted in the PVC, our waste area international capital.
जब तक मनीष सिसोदिया की गिरफ्तारी नहीं हो जाती है, तब तक ये विरोध प्रदर्शन जारी रहेगा.
Court has granted both the accused to the police custody over the death of Sonali Fogart.
This is the question which Aam Aadmi Party is asking from BJP.
Massive preparations are being taken by the Noida authorities over here. The demolition is going to take place at 2:30 p.m. tomorrow on Sunday. 5,000 families which are living in vicinity of this building, their health and their security is taken care of. It is expected that around 3,700 kgs of explosives are going to be used. This is one of the first processes, which is going to take place in Delhi NCR for demolishing one of the tallest residential buildings, not only in Delhi NCR, but in the country.
These are the two rooms that was booked in the name of Sonali Fogart and Sudhir and Sukhwinder Singh. It's already been sealed by the police, and even the FSL team was present at the same room. Anjuna police has registered a separate narcotic case against 4-person and arrested Curly's owner Edwin Noons and drug peddler Datta Prasad Gaukar. Accused are non-Goans and there cloud B involvement of others. This was the main point that was put before. 10 days custody has been granted by the court to the police of both the accused, that is Sudhir Sangwan and Sukhwinder Singh.
Tallest building, Supertech Twin Towers, right behind me, 100 meters tall, 40-story high, which will be coming down. It's going to be a waterfall implosion. A lot of detonators, emulsion, shock tubes being used filled with explosive material and gel and powdered form. Very, very serious violation of building codes. It's coming at the back of the Supreme Court order. In nefarious complicity between the Noida authority and Supertech. And on Sunday, the Twin Towers will be reduced to just rubble.
When Sonali Fogart taken to the same restaurant, there she was intentionally and forcefully drink, and that is now visible in the CCTV, which clearly sees that how Sudhir Sangwan, who is forcefully making Sonali Fogart to drink 1.5 gram of MDMA that was mixed in the same drink.
Ladies and gentlemen, of course there have been journalists in Pakistan who have been tortured, who have been shot at. But those journalists are either neutral or do not support Imran Khan at all. During Imran Khan's regime, the same thing was done to journalists who would criticize Imran Khan's government and Imran Khan himself. Friends, in Pakistan, everybody is a lion till the time the police come calling, and then all the lions are lambs.
There's an old saying in the Navy that ships don't die, they just fade away only to be reborn again. INS Vikrant, the largest indigenous aircraft carrier ever built by the country, where India has joined a league of few nations which has made this feat.
So motto is we win over those who dare to fight.
On September 2nd, INS Vikrant will be commissioned into the Indian Navy.
Got erupted in the PVC waste area in the national capital.
जब तक मनीष सिसोदिया की गिरफ्तारी नहीं हो जाती है, तब तक ये विरोध प्रदर्शन जारी रहेगा.
Court has granted both the accused to the police custody over the death of Sonali Fogart.
This is the question which Aam Aadmi Party is asking from BJP.
Massive preparations are being taken by the Noida authorities over here. The demolition.
Boom, and the Twin Towers are gone. Clouds of dust loom over the demolition site. Towers that symbolize the corruption, a battle fought for 9 years, all to rubble in just 9 seconds. Corruption towers bite the dust as collusion implodes, as the towers of deceit crumble. Residents rejoice as towers of corruption implode and fall in 9 seconds. As towers of corruption come rumbling down, clouds of dust engulf demolition site. And welcome you watching our special broadcast from Noida, where the Twin Towers were finally brought down. A 9-year-long fight ending in just about 9 seconds, viewers. We're not very far away from where the demolition actually took place. Before I go across to our reporters, a quick check of what's really happening on the ground right now. And also, I'll try and take you through those few seconds of what we as a reporter witness unfolding before our eyes. We'll try and describe that for you as you are watching a historic moment unfolding at this point in time. Let me just quickly take you through what's happening right now. I'll ask my video journalist Surendra Rawat to take you through what remains of that tower of deceit and tower of corruption that we've been calling. That's what remains right now. Brought down in just about 9 seconds. As you can see, about 80,000 tons of debris lying right now there, just about 500 meters away from where we are broadcasting right now. What you see in and around that entire area right now, there was a mushroom of cloud that we could see in this entire area was engulfed with this dust that was generated after the two towers were brought down, but now it seems to have been settling down to a greater extent. Also, a lot of movement taking place of water tankers being brought in, ambulances have gone inside, fire tenders have also moved out of these areas, which is perhaps an indication that all seems to be fine at this point in time. No report as of now, viewers, of any untoward incident. So if any of our viewers who are from those very towers who had to evacuate, if you want to get a closer glimpse of what's the situation right now, of course, it's not going to second guess what the authorities are essentially going to say with regards to the safety check, because that's going to be far more crucial. But just in case you're wondering, how does it look right now? At least from the naked eye, all that we can say, what we saw before the demolition looks pretty much the same, obviously minus those towers of corruption which has finally come down. But as far as those adjacent towers are concerned, viewers, right now, if you see those fabric sheets that were placed on most of the other buildings, adjacent buildings, especially in Emerald Court area, that seems to be intact as of now. Hopefully everything has gone as per the plan. What's going to happen right now, as per the authorities, what we are picking up is that most of the officials we saw going in right now. So I'll just turn around and take you through that side. On the other side, take a look at that. That's the lane which goes inside. That was the part of the exclusion zone. Finally, it seems to have just been opened up for the sanitization workers. Those mechanized sweepers are also basically moving in right now. Cleaning is taking place in this area because remember, a lot of this entire cloud of dust had basically gathered, especially in the vicinity of the Twin Towers, and that area was completely engulfed. Not really from the place where we have been broadcasting from. Right now, the cleaning process has already begun. So the next immediate step would be for the authorities to carry out a safety audit. Safety audit of especially those buildings behind me, because it's going to be important to see whether at all there is any structural damage or not, and whether the residents can move in. That's going to take a few more hours before they come to some sort of a conclusion. We at Republic TV will try and get you all the latest updates from the authorities to get you a sense of what's really happening. Let me also bring in my colleagues Nivedana as well as Piyush Ori, who are joining us on this broadcast. Nivedana, where you are standing right now, from where you're broadcasting, what's the situation like? Because as I can see from a little distance, your area seems to have now been cleared up. It's only water tankers that we can see from this particular angle. What's really happening around you?
That's right, Shravan. In fact, before I get into that, what's quite interesting is just a couple of hours ago, when I kept pointing out there was this huge tower, and now it does not remain anymore. And that is, of course, because this demolition has turned out to be successful. But coming back to your question in terms of what's happening here, it has been cleared out. We're just seeing water tankers move in and out to kind of settle the dust from the debris. Also, on the other hand, we did see a lot of public who were curious and who were, standing here to see, what's really going to pan out. And the police officials were trying to ask them to move away for security reasons as well. This entire flyover was only open for media personnel. But coming back to what is happening currently, even the police officials as well as all the security deployment that was there earlier posted here which we did see a lot of it initially. Right after the demolition, of course, it's pretty much clear now. There's just a couple of tankers as well as sweepers earlier who were trying to remove the dust. But this entire flyover since morning, of course, was cordoned off. But coming to what's happening, the latest is that it's pretty clear and only the water tankers are just moving in and around to ensure that all the debris settles back to you.
Well, in fact, Nivedana, right. Nivedana, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'll come back to you, but there seems to be some action from where my colleague Piyush Mishra is reported. Piyush, over to you. Appears to be there's some kind of celebration, rightfully so. What's really happening?
We are now seeing as to how the residents of nearby societies are now celebrating here. They are distributing laddu, they are playing Holi, so it is a big day of celebration for them. Let me try to ask from them about the reason of this celebration. Though it's evident that they are celebrating the demolition of Twin Tower, let me try to ask them, laddu किस लिए?
एक demolition हुआ है इलीगल कंस्ट्रक्शन का 10 साल के करप्ट प्रैक्टिस 10 सेकंड में गिर गया
10 साल क्या? What do you want to say? Do you think it's a big day for the residents who are living in nearby society?
It's a big victory day for it's a win for good things over the evil. So it's win-win for all the for the country, for the residents, for the citizens, for the Nyayapalika, for all our agencies. So it's a big victory day for everyone.
Celebration will continue.
Yes, because now we have started that corruption will never win, and we have started this thing. So this victory will continue in our country, and I hope Modi and Yogi, that couple, that will make it.
Sir, how do you see this demolition? We are seeing as to how celebrations are also taking place.
First, all the residents of Emerald Court who were with us in Pasnath Prestige, they are very happy. We had some apprehension, but I think now things are over. It's a moment of joy. It's a moment of truth for all of us. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to all for keeping us live.
How is it further going to help the residents? Because residents are facing a lot of problem because of the illegal structure which was erected.
Nothing illegal is going to stand. The court and administration is very big. On a joking note, I was telling it was a bulldozer state. Now it will be a blast state now for illegal construction.
It is going to be a blast in 10 years from now. The residents are right now celebrating the demolition of Twin Towers, and right behind me the colorful pictures are coming in where they are not only dancing but also playing Holi. They are the one who are now very much happy after the demolition which has taken place. Let me try to speak from a few more residents. We can clearly see as to how the visuals of celebrations coming in from the Prestige Society here, which is very much near to the very place where the demolition had taken place. क्या कहेंगे मैम, आप लोग यहाँ पे सेलिब्रेट करते हुए नजर आए, होली भी खेल रहे हैं?
हम लोगों ने तो बोल दिया था ना, ट्विन टावर गिरेंगे धड़ाम, ट्विन टावर गिरेंगे धड़ाम, हो गया। खुशियाँ छाएंगी चारों और खुशियाँ छाएंगी चारों, मैं मन में है विश्वास, पूरा है विश्वास, हम होंगे कामयाब आज ही।
कामयाब हो गए?
बिल्कुल। पता
अब क्या कहेंगे?
हमारे कन्हैया
बहुत अच्छा है, सब बहुत खुश हैं और सबका साथ सबका विकास,
अब लड्डू खा रही है, लड्डू खा रही है,
लड्डू खा नहीं रहे, खिला रहे हैं, खिला रहे हैं।
ये तो पहले बोलना चाहिए ना जी।
आगे आगे क्या कहेंगे आप, क्या कहेंगे आप?
हमें इतना अच्छा लग रहा है कि हम लोग अपने आप को मेंटेन ही नहीं कर पा रहे हैं। इतना अच्छा, इतना खुशी हो रही है सबको कि हम लोग अपने आप को रोक ही नहीं पा रहे हैं खुशी, क्योंकि हम लोग की बिल्डिंग सारी सेफ है। जो हम लोग को डर था कि बिल्डिंग के कोई कांच ना टूटे या कुछ ना, तो सब बिल्डिंग सेफ है, वहाँ से आ गया कि सारे आपके बिल्डिंग सारे सही है, कुछ भी नहीं टूटा।
अच्छा, क्या क्या दिक्कतों का सामना आप लोगों को करना पड़ रहा था अब तक?
बस यही था कि हम लोग को थोड़ा सा लग रहा था कि धूल मिट्टी बहुत आएगा, कांच का सारा सामान ना टूटे, टीवी वगैरह ना गिर जाए, तो हम लोग ने तो टीवी वगैरह उतार के सब नीचे रख दिया था। तो अब ये हो गया कि जिसने नहीं उतारा है किसी का टूटा नहीं है, सब सेफ है।
इतनी बड़ी बिल्डिंग खड़ी हो गई थी, उससे क्या क्या दिक्कतें आ रही थी, प्रॉब्लम क्या आती थी?
हमें तो नहीं फर्क पड़ा, हम थोड़ा पीछे थे, लेकिन जो लोग का ट्विन टावर से सटा हुआ था उनको था कि उनको धूप 2 साल से 4 साल से तो बिल्कुल धूप उनको आ ही नहीं रही थी, तो वो तो एकदम जैसे गुंज कमरे में बैठे हो उस तरह था। तो अब इनको हटने से सबसे ज़्यादा अच्छा वो 3-4 टावर को लगेगा।
कितना दूर था वहाँ से?
हमारा वहाँ से करीब 50-60 मीटर तो पड़ेगा ही, तो मतलब हमें धूप पानी हमारा उस टावर से नहीं रुका था।
So the celebrations have now broken out here, and remember that they are the residents of the societies, those were around the Twin Towers. Now we can clearly see as to how the celebrations have broken out here in this society, where the people who have come to stay here till evening, they are now very much happy because the illegal tower has now been raised. Drum beats can be clearly seen here. People are seen dancing, celebrating. They are playing Holi. It's a big, big day for them. People are rejoicing this big day. They are very much happy that demolition has finally taken place. It's more than decade fight which these residents have fought, and now we can see as to how they are celebrating, exchanging greetings. They are hugging each other. It's a day of celebration, day of victory for these residents. Let me try to get in a word from more residents. Sir, I've been speaking to you since morning. Now, after demolition, what's your view?
It's really awesome here. It's like the corruption, the illegal thing which took 10 years is blown down in 10 seconds. This demolished like nothing. All over smoke everywhere, and really happy, and this is a big slap to the people who are doing corruption in India. From the government, from the law, it's pretty straight that if you do anything illegal, we'll bang you. And High Court and Supreme Court has done this. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
You saw that particular moment, you recorded that particular moment on your phone, you made video of that. How did you feel when you saw these two twin towers coming down?
It was really awesome moment because it's always about engineering, and Edifice and Jet have done a perfect job. They were working 24/7, day night, for installation of all the explosives and everything.
How did you feel the very moment? How did you feel?
It feel like really proud moment that the engineers, being an engineer, I'm also an engineer. I know how much everybody is putting their efforts. So it was an awesome moment. Thank you.
You clearly see the pictures of celebrations coming in from a prestige society which is barely 200 meters away from the very place where Twin Towers had been erected. After this very short break, we will be getting more and more voices, more and more pictures as celebrations are now broken out after demolition of two symbols of corruption in Noida, Uttar Pradesh. Stay tuned for more updates.
Amity University Dubai has been awarded as the best university campus in the Middle East by Forbes magazine and recognized as the best university for job placements. Jumpstart your global career in Dubai with Amity, with faculty and students from over 50 nationalities. Visit amity.edu/Dubai.
There's an old saying in the Navy that ships don't die, they just fade away only to be reborn again. The INS Vikrant, the largest indigenous aircraft carrier ever built by the country, where India has joined a league of few nations which has made this feat.
So motto is we win over those who dare to fight.
On September 2nd, INS Vikrant will be commissioned into the Indian Navy.
Fire that erupted in the PVC, our waste area international capital.
जब तक मनीष सिसोदिया की गिरफ्तारी नहीं हो जाती है, तब तक ये विरोध प्रदर्शन जारी रहेगा.
Court has granted both the accused to the police custody over the death of Sonali Fogart.
This is the question which Aam Aadmi Party is asking from BJP.
Massive preparations are being taken by the Noida authorities over here. The demolition is going to take place at 2:30 p.m. tomorrow on Sunday. 5,000 families which are living in vicinity of this building, their health and their security is taken care of. It is expected that around 3,700 kgs of explosives are going to be used. This is one of the first processes, which is going to take place in Delhi NCR for demolishing one of the tallest residential buildings, not only in Delhi NCR, but in the country.
These are the two rooms that was booked in the name of Sonali Fogart and Sudhir and Sukhvinder Singh. It's already been sealed by the police, and even the FSL team was present at the same room. Anjuna police has registered a separate narcotic case against 4 persons and arrested Curly's owner Edwin Noons and drug peddler Datta Prasad Gaukar. Accused are non-Goans and the Cloud B involvement of others. This was the main point that was put before. 10 days custody has been granted by the court to the police of both the accused, that is Sudhir Sangwan and Sukhvinder Singh.
रहा
100% सक्सेसफुल
100%। कितनी देर लगी सर, जैसे कह रहे थे 9 से 12 मिनट?
द सेम टाइम 9 सेकंड में बिल्डिंग पूरी क्रैश कर गई।
अच्छा, 9 सेकंड में। मतलब अब लग रहा है कि जो सोचा था वो कर पाए।
बिल्कुल जो हमारी प्रेडिक्शन थी वो 100% सक्सेसफुल हुई है और 100% पास हुई है।
अच्छा, जैसे कहते हैं ना कि एक पूरी टीम का वर्क होता है, तो पूरी टीम बधाई की पात्र है कि कर दिखाया?
सर बिल्कुल पूरी टीम बधाई की पात्र है। और जब ब्लास्ट होने के बाद हम पांचों अंदर गए और हम लोगों ने बिल्डिंग को अच्छी तरह इंस्पेक्ट किया, उसके जस्ट 5 मिनट बाद हम लोग रो रहे थे।
और सर कितने लोग थे, कितने इन्वॉल्व थे आपने, कितने लोग
सर माय फैमिली वेटिंग फॉर मी।
कितने लोग?
हाँ मैडम, टोटल 10 लड़के मेरी टीम में थे जी, और 7 फॉरेन एक्सपर्ट्स थे हमारे, और 20 से 25 की एडिफिस इंजीनियरिंग की टीम थी।
सर जैसे आपने एक्सपीरियंस बताया, आप कितने दूर थे, मतलब पूरे?
मैडम सिर्फ 70 मीटर दूर थे इस ब्लास्ट से
जी। और जो प्रोसीजर जो हुआ, जब बटन दबाया, क्या थी सर, फीलिंग क्या थी उस समय?
आधे घंटे पहले जब सायरन पुश दबा दिया गया, बजा दिया गया, आधे घंटे पहले हम पांचों आपस में एक दूसरे से कोई बात नहीं कर रहे थे, सिर्फ एक दूसरे का चेहरा देख रहे थे। और जैसे ही बटन दबने की इमीडिएटली बाद जब मैंने खड़े होकर बिल्डिंग की तरफ देखा तो सिर्फ वहाँ धूल का गुबार था और कुछ चिंताएं थी, और उन चिंताओं को देखते हुए हम लोगों ने धूल को सेटल होने की वेट नहीं की। जब से मास्क निकाले एंड सब भागते हुए बिल्डिंग की तरफ गए, और हमारा पहला कंसर्न एमराल्ड कोर्ट था, उसको चेक किया, इट वाज कम्प्लीटली सेफ। एक एटीएस की तरफ हल्का सा एक जो कंपाउंड वॉल है उस पर थोड़ा सा पत्थर गिरा है, जिसकी वजह से 3 या 4 मीटर कंपाउंड वॉल टूटी है, एंड एवरीथिंग इज सेफ एज पर आवर प्लान।
नाम और डेजिग्नेशन?
माय सेल्फ चेतन दत्ता, आई वाज इंडियन ब्लास्टर।
थैंक यू सो मच सर, थैंक यू।
Well, that was the blasters speaking to the media, essentially saying that they've gone through the very procedure. Remember, Edifice, the company that is responsible for the demolition, along with the South African company, essentially now pointing out that this entire work was just done as per the plan. Within 9 seconds, the building was essentially brought down. They've done the checks 15 minutes before they pressed the button. And as of now, the latest update that's essentially coming in, that it seems everything has gone as per plan. Everything is normal, which essentially indicates that there's nothing really to worry at this point in time. What happens henceforth is, I'm given to understand Ritu Maheshwari is
तो वो थोड़ी सी 10 मीटर्स में डैमेज हुई है। दैट्स इट।
थैंक यू सो मच।
थैंक यू।
Well, let me bring in my colleague Piyush Mishra, who's joining us on this broadcast right now. Piyush, just walk us through the details that you're picking up. We just heard the blaster who spoke to the media a short while back saying that everything went as per plan. Within 9 seconds, the building was brought down. So it looks like, as we can see right now in and around us, is that everything appears to be quite normal. A while back, we also saw some of the officials who are here. They've gone inside the exclusion zone. They've done the checks that are required. Perhaps it's going to take some more time, Piyush, before the authorities actually clear the area and then allow the residents to go back. Have you been able to pick up anything from the authorities in terms, what's the plan like? How long would it take for them to come up with a safety assessment?
Well, Shravan, even before they go back to their residence, the celebrations have broken out here. They are of the view that after more than a decade-long fight, finally the Twin Towers have now come down. Let me try to get in a first word from the RWW president of Prestige Society. Sir, how are you feeling? The tower were very much close to your society.
First apprehension, anguish, then it was a little bit of concern, but I was happy that the tower, illegal tower, which took 10 years to be built up, it crashed down in 10 seconds, and this is the precision, and you people are doing a great job. So, we are very happy. We have hosted Emerald Court and ATS citizens, residents and their staffs and their families. They all are happy. It's a moment of rejoice. I was on site also, but I came here to see the management, and there will be a clearance from that site. Then we will allow them to go after a healthy.
For any word from authority?
No, I think it's okay. And authority have done a very great job, and police has done a very great job. They manage things very well, Noida authority. And as we know that it is a bulldozer government here. Now you get an example in this bomb can also be used in destroying this illegal structures.
Celebrations have now broken out here, and they have made you part of their celebrations. We also saw the pictures of women dancing. Now the clearance would be given by Noida authority. Only after that these residents would go back to their residences, to the society. Those are very much near the very place where the demolition of Twin Towers took place. After this very short break, we will be speaking to more and more people. We'll try to understand more and more concerns and get more and more voices. Stay tuned for more updates as the symbol of corruption raised down today. Stay tuned for more updates.
Amity University Dubai has been awarded as the best university campus in the Middle East by Forbes magazine and recognized as the best university for job placements. Jumpstart your global career in Dubai with Amity, with faculty and students from over 50 nationalities. Visit amity.edu/Dubai.
These are the two rooms that was booked in the name of Sonali Fogart and Sudhir and Sukhwinder Singh. It's already been sealed by the police, and even the FSL team was present at the same room. Anjuna police has registered a separate narcotic case against 4 persons and arrested Curly's owner Edwin Noons and drug peddler Datta Prasad Gaukar. Accused are non-Goans and they cloud B involvement of others. This was the main point that was put before. 10 days custody has been granted by the court to the police of both the accused, that is Sudhir Sangwan and Sukhwinder Singh.
Tallest building, Supertech Twin Towers, right behind me, 100 meters tall, 40-story high, which will be coming down. It's going to be a waterfall implosion. A lot of detonators, emulsion, shock tubes being used filled with explosives.
Getting you all the voices right now after the demolition that was carried out a short while back. Confirmation now coming in from the blaster that everything has gone as per plan. The building was brought down in 9 seconds, and the good news essentially being that the remaining areas, the adjacent buildings, appear to be safe at this point in time. However, the caveat being that the safety audit is still underway. That's going to take some more time, but here on Republic TV we'll get you minute by minute update as to what's really happening in terms of the safety audit. When exactly can the residents go back? These are the areas that we are going to focus on, and also take you through the latest images. Let's not forget the image that's going to that everyone is going to remember is when those 2 towers which were standing till about 2:29 this afternoon is now no longer there. What you see just behind me is a pile mound of debris, like the construction debris that you see right now there. Authorities say that's about 80,000 tons of construction debris lying there. 50% of it would be still be there to just cover up that entire area that must have got dug up. That area would be covered up. Rest of the material would be taken out. It's a long drawn process. Let's not forget that this is going to take cleaning up that entire area perhaps could take almost about 3 months from now. That's the latest update that we're getting in. On the other side, we'll also get you voices, residents who are celebrating right now, and also the latest update in terms of the safety audit that's been carried out.
Amity University Dubai has been awarded as the best university campus in the Middle East by Forbes magazine and recognized as the best university for job placements. Jumpstart your global career in Dubai with Amity, with faculty and students from over 50 nationalities. Visit amity.edu/Dubai.
When Sonali Foga taken to the same restaurant, there she was intentionally and forcefully drink, and that is now visible in the CCTV, which clearly sees that how Sudhir Sangwan, who is forcefully making Sonali Foga to drink 1.5 gram of MDMA that was mixed in the same drink.
Ladies and gentlemen, of course there have been journalists in Pakistan who have been tortured, who have been shot at. But those journalists are either neutral or do not support Imran Khan at all. During Imran Khan's regime, the same thing was done to journalists who would criticize Imran Khan's government and Imran Khan himself. Friends, in Pakistan, everybody is a lion till the time the police come calling, and then all the lions are lambs.
There's an old saying in the Navy that ships don't die, they just fade away only to be reborn again. INS Vikrant, the largest indigenous aircraft carrier ever built.
Twin towers are gone, clouds of dust loom over the demolition site. Towers that symbolize the corruption, a battle for 9 years, all to rubble and in just 9 seconds. Corruption towers bite the dust as a collusion implodes, as the towers of deceit crumble. Residents rejoice as towers of corruption implode and fall in 9 seconds. The tower of corruption, tower of deceit was brought down today afternoon around 2:30 this afternoon. It just took about 9 seconds for the building to come down. Authorities essentially saying that everything went as per plan. Within 9 seconds, the building came down. Everything appears to be normal as of now. No untoward incident has been reported so far. Residents are undoubtedly joyous. They're celebrating the fact that finally these two towers have come down crumbling, and we've been tracking the story very closely. We'll also go across to our reporters in a short while from now, but let me just quickly recap of all that we know till the time we get our reporters on the ground to get you what's really happening on each side. We've been covering from different vantage locations, but where I'm standing right now, from here, all that I can see is that till about 2:29, when those two towers of deceit were still standing tall, it's finally come down crumbling within just about 9 seconds. And viewers, we did actually witness that unfolding right in front of our eyes. What was basically used was 3,700 kilogram of explosives, a loud explosion which lasted for about a couple of seconds, and then within seconds all that we saw was the towers crumbling down. What remains right now is this. If you're wondering how does it look like, it's just a pile of dust that's gathered there, but it should be roughly about 6 to 7 floors. That should be the height of the debris that has been collected, which is going to remain there for quite some time. That area has still been cordoned off as of now, which is the exclusion zone. All that I can see as of now. Some of the authorities who are moving in. There are water tankers which are basically going and sprinkling water in that area, cleaning up this entire area. Also on the other side, if you see the flyover, there are certain cars that have been parked there, so the movement is still restricted for a while. But as per the traffic department, they would have opened up most of the roads, especially the expressway, which was closed for the demolition, which must have opened by now. On the other side, in terms of what's the impact in terms of the cloud of dust that had basically gathered in that area, it seems to have settled down pretty much right now. What you see just behind me, that's settled down to a greater extent, as what I can tell you at this point in time. With regards to what's the safety audit that is basically undergoing right now. The safety audit, which is going to go on for some time, is what I'm given to understand, and only by later today or perhaps by tomorrow is when the residents who had to leave from here, they can come back. Let me also bring in my colleagues Piyush as well as Shivangi, who's joining us on this broadcast. Shivangi, over to you. Take our viewers through the latest details that you're picking up. Anything that you're hearing from the authorities in terms of what next right now, in terms of the checks that they need to do before the residents come in.
All right, Shawan, we were there. In fact, the vantage point that we have, I have moved away from that place right now because we are trying to go to the helipad where the sorties are going to fly out. So we have moved location. But it was something which was a once in a lifetime experience. That's how I want to call it, because when we were standing there and we saw the blast happen first, and within a few seconds the entire building crumbled down like it was cardboard. It was a very surreal experience as well. So in fact, there's no damage to nearby housing society. So the update is that no proper damage to nearby housing societies. Only some bits of debris have come toward the road, and we will get a better idea of the situation in an hour. That is what we are learning right now. Noida CEO Ritu Maheshwari has said this. And when the towers had come down, there was a lot of smoke and a lot of dust, a big cloud. So initially, while I was standing at that vantage point, which was very close to Supertech, I thought that the dust will come towards us. It was rushing towards us, but thankfully it stayed at that spot, and then it disappeared after some time. So this is definitely a big moment, a D-Day in fact. Today, big demolition. We got you all the vantage points on Republic TV, and in fact we also learning the edifice official has said that no damage to residential towers in adjoining Emerald Court after Supertech demolition, and the Noida Police Commissioner has also spoken to Republic post the demolition, and everything has gone to plan. So this is the big news. Piyush Shori is joining me. Piyush, when the demolition happened, it was something that seeing it live, like from where I was standing, it was something which was definitely extraordinary. That's what I want to call it. But it's not just extraordinary, Piyush, but it was also historic in terms of the fight against corruption. Take us through what happened where you were standing.
Very rarely you see something, like this. Very rarely you see something of an engineering marvel, which you just want to appreciate. And today was a day of appreciation, of an engineering marvel in which a building which is as tall as Qutub Minar was torn down, was taken down in just a matter of 7 seconds. So this is a matter, of engineering marvel which we must, appreciate. Having said that, this is an extraordinary day. This is a very historical day because this is the day in which India has risen. India has given a judgment that it is not going to tolerate corruption, and there are several aspects of corruption. And in this, example, we saw that there was a corruption in which there were a lot of, home buyers who were duped. There were a lot of home buyers whose lives were put at risk by a lot of a violation in the building laws, and there were a lot of environmental degradation. So today is definitely a historical day in which we have appreciated the engineering marvel, and at the same time India has risen up to corruption, and India in a way has defeated corruption. Having said that, this is just one part of the challenge which has just gone away. Now another part of the challenge is to make sure that all the aspects of taking down this building, all the other aspects are taken care of. So there are three aspects on which the authorities are taking care of. First, the noise aspect, the noise pollution aspect, they're just trying to assess that whether this huge noise pollution, which we just heard, has it caused any damage. Second is the pile of dust, which came up. Now that has been, taken care of. As I'm speaking to you, there are a lot of, water pumps, which have been, operating, and there are a lot of road dust operators that are, operating over here. And at the same time, a law and order situation is also being maintained, where, the Commissioner of Police Noida just right now just passed through us, and he's also assessing the situation. So all these aspects would have to be taken care of. And lastly, I would sign off by saying that, the danger is still not off. And the edifice engineering and the jet engineering, they are still trying to assess the structural audit of the buildings, and they are just trying to assess that whether this, huge blast, the vibrations which were caused through this, had it affected the nearby buildings, because ultimately, the safety and security of these 5,000 residents also now needs to be taken care of. So yes, one part of the challenge is gone, the another part of challenge has just begun, and it is going to be interesting to see that how the Noida authorities and the authorities, who have won the first challenge, how they are going to deal with the challenge number 2. So it is all going to be very interesting to see. But right now, it is just a joyous joyous occasion for a lot of residents who had fought very hard for this tower of corruption to go down. Back to in the studio.
Right, Piyush is getting us all those details, and I'll come back to Piyush just once more. He's live from the command center. Piyush, I'm coming back to you just in a minute. I want to ask you a little bit about have the routes, the traffic routes been cleared yet? I'm coming back, but I just want the viewers to know exactly what is happening right now. So the demolition is over with. 100 meters came down in a few seconds, and it was a spectacle to watch. I mean, to see it from where we were standing, it was definitely a spectacle. We were standing, and the ground started shaking. It was vibrating, and the moment it came down, it was in fact can't be really described in words, because the towers were they were so tall. They were just, the other buildings were just half of the towers. After the demolition, in fact, what we also saw was that some of the geotextile fabric, it was damaged slightly. There were some holes in it, so it was a very good idea that the residents had moved out. The residents can now come back at 6:30 p.m. only. So right now it's around 4 p.m., 4:09 p.m. Let's also have a look at what my colleague Piyush has got for us earlier in the day. Here's more.
They are now celebrating here. They are distributing laddu. They are playing Holi. So it is a big day of celebration for them. Big day of celebration for them. Let me try to ask from them about the reason of this celebration. Though it's evident that they are celebrating the demolition of Twin Tower, let me try to ask them, laddu किस लिए?
एक डिमोलिशन हुआ है इलीगल कंस्ट्रक्शन का, 10 साल के करप्ट प्रैक्टिस 10 सेकंड में गिर गया.
10 साल क्या? What do you want to say? Do you think it's a big day for the residents who are living in nearby society?
It's a big victory day for it's a win for good things over the evil. So it's win-win for all the for the country, for the residents, for the citizens, for the Nyayapalika. for all our, agencies. So it's a big victory day for everyone.
Celebration will continue.
Yes, I mean, because now we have started that corruption will never win, and we have started this thing. So this victory will continue in our country. And I hope Modi and Yogi, that couple, that will make it.
Sir, how do you see this demolition? We are seeing as to how celebrations are also taking place.
First, all the residents of Emerald Court who were with us in Pasnath Prestige, they are very happy. We had some apprehension, but I think now things are over. It's a moment of joy. It's a moment of truth for all of us. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to all for keeping us live.
How is it further going to help the residents? Because residents are facing a lot of problem because of the illegal structure which was erected.
Nothing illegal is going to stand. The court and administration is very big. On a joking note, I was telling it was a bulldozer state. Now it will be a blast state now for illegal construction.
It is going to be a blast 10 years from now. The residents are right now celebrating the demolition of Twin Towers, and right behind me the colorful pictures are coming in where they are not only dancing but also playing Holi. They are the one who are now very much happy after the demolition which has taken place. Let me try to speak from a few more residents. We can clearly see as to how the visuals of celebrations coming in from the Prestige Society here, which is very much near to the very place where the demolition had taken place. क्या कहेंगे मैम, आप लोग यहाँ पे सेलिब्रेट करते नजर आए, होली भी खेल रहे हैं?
हम लोगों ने तो बोल दिया था ना, ट्विन टावर गिरेंगे धड़ाम, ट्विन टावर गिरेंगे धड़ाम, हो गया। खुशियाँ छाएंगी चारों और खुशियाँ छाएंगी चारों, मैं मन में है विश्वास, पूरा है विश्वास, हम होंगे कामयाब आज ही।
कामयाब हो गए
बिल्कुल, पता।
अब क्या कहेंगे?
हमारे कन्हैया
बहुत अच्छा है, सब बहुत खुश है और सबका साथ सबका विकास,
सबका साथ और सहयोग और सबके साथ सबका विकास। और हम बहुत
अब लड्डू खा रही है, लड्डू खा रही है,
लड्डू खा नहीं रहे, खिला रहे हैं।
आगे आगे क्या कहेंगे आप, क्या कहेंगे आप?
हमें इतना अच्छा लग रहा है कि हम लोग अपने आप को मेंटेन ही नहीं कर पा रहे हैं। इतना अच्छा, इतना खुशी हो रही है सबको कि हम लोग अपने आप को रोक ही नहीं पा रहे हैं खुशी, क्योंकि हम लोग की बिल्डिंग सारी सेफ है। जो हम लोग को डर था कि बिल्डिंग के कोई कांच ना टूटे या कुछ ना, तो सब बिल्डिंग सेफ है, वहाँ से आ गया कि सारे आपके बिल्डिंग सारे सही है, कुछ भी नहीं टूटा।
अच्छा, क्या क्या दिक्कतों का सामना आप लोगों को करना पड़ रहा था अब तक?
बस यही था कि हम लोग को थोड़ा सा ये लग रहा था कि धूल मिट्टी बहुत आएगा, कांच का सारा सामान ना टूटे, टीवी वगैरह ना गिर जाए, तो हम लोग ने तो टीवी वगैरह उतार के सब नीचे रख दिया था। तो अब ये हो गया कि जिसने नहीं उतारा है किसी का टूटा नहीं है, सब सेफ है।
इतनी बड़ी बिल्डिंग खड़ी हो गई थी, उससे क्या क्या दिक्कतें आ रही थी आपको, प्रॉब्लम क्या आती थी?
हमें तो नहीं फर्क पड़ा, हम थोड़ा पीछे थे, लेकिन जो लोग का ट्विन टावर से सटा हुआ था उनको था कि उनको धूप 2 साल से 4 साल से तो बिल्कुल धूप उनको आ ही नहीं रही थी, तो वो तो एकदम जैसे गुंद कमरे में बैठे हो उस तरह था। तो अब इनको हटने से सबसे ज़्यादा अच्छा वो 3-4 टावर को लगेगा।
कितना दूर था वहाँ से?
हमारा वहाँ से करीब 50-60 मीटर तो पड़ेगा ही, तो मतलब हमें धूप पानी हमारा उस टावर से नहीं रुका था।
So as the tower of corruption has taken down, the most important challenge now for the authorities is to clear the debris and make sure that all the 5,000 residents who were living in vicinity of this tower of corruption are safe and secure, and they easily are again rehabilitated in their houses. For more updates, stay tuned to Republic Media Network as we keep you updated of all the rehabilitation efforts by the authorities to make sure that all the So as I said, as I said that the most important challenge now for the Noida authorities is to make sure that 3 major aspects, that is the harm which may have been caused by the noise pollution, the harm that may have been caused by the pile of dust that has come up with 35,000 metric tons of the pile of dust which this tower of corruption has generated, and also the structural safety of all the buildings nearby, and all the structural safety of all these buildings which are near to this building, they have been taken care of. So yes, Shivangi, one part of the challenge definitely has gone with this tower of corruption, this tower of corruption having gone away. But now the most important challenge for the authorities would be to make sure that the 5,000 residents who are and living in and around this tower of corruption needs to be taken care of and needs to be again made safe. The short-term measures of clearing the dust which has been caused by taking away this building has come up. You can see a lot of trucks, construction and demolition trucks, they are on their way to the site where this tower of corruption once stood. So what they're doing is they are again taking away all the piles of dust, piles which rubble which has come up with this tower of corruption having been taken down.
Piyush, all right, Piyush is getting us all the updates right now. Thank you, Piyush, for getting us all the updates. Piyush Ori is telling us that the pile of rubbish, the rubble actually, all the rubble which has fallen down after that collapsed,